Hey yo, how's it going? SixftHax here, have for y'all today my round 8 battles for Smogon PU Winter Seasonal. So before I actually get into this video, some of you guys might be wondering where I've kind of been. I know I haven't really uploaded the past couple days. Long story short, I don't know if you can hear, but I'm still sick. It's been like 2 weeks. I think I have a sinus infection again, so I have to go to the doctor eventually. And then second reason, just busy. Drama basically, and yeah, just life. So hey, hopefully we can get back on track this week. This was gonna go up yesterday, but Camtasia messed up my audio, so I'm gonna try and hopefully get this up on Tuesday for you guys. So yeah, if you do enjoy, hit that thumbs up button down below, guys. Your support is greatly appreciated. So let me know how you guys have been doing the past few days that I haven't been gone. Again, hopefully everything will be back to normal. So we are facing Bdov for round 8 here. I feel like I've heard this name before, but I'm not entirely too sure. So shouts out to my boy Tone for passing me the awesome squad that we are using here. We got a nice choice band girder, which can actually just smack the entirety of my opponent's team. Oricorio doesn't really want to switch into Golurk, and then Shift Tree is really not that bulky at all, so it's super nice. We have Flinium Z Dodrio. I believe that is Colberberry Mesprit. We have Spikes Quillfish, Rocks, Alolan Sandslash, and Scarfed Prime. Actually, no, that is Choice Specs Mesprit. Sorry. Yeah, so we have Specs Mesprit here, which can probably do a little bit of work, but he does most likely have a Salt Vest Lantern and a Skuntank to be able to deal with it. Mudsdale doesn't seem like a giant issue. Buffalon is actually a little bit scary depending on what set it's running, and then same thing for Shift Tree and Oricorio, depending on what they are will determine on how I can really play around them. So I'm going to be leading off with my Golurk, because I figured that, one, he's not going to lead with Oricorio or Shift Tree most likely because I have a Primeape, and typically if Primeape is Scarfed, it's usually a lead. So I figured, hey, he might think I'm going to lead Primeape, so I can lead Choice Banded Golurk, and most likely just click Earthquake. Again, you're not really going to switch in an Oricorio on a Golurk, and even if he brings in Shift Tree, I'm still Choice Banded, and Shift Tree is really not that bulky whatsoever. So I figured Earthquaking here was just the best play I could make turn 1, as I do catch the incoming Mudsdale. I do activate its stamina, and it turns out that he's actually Figure Berry, which I did expect it to be, but I'd rather pop it this early on in the battle than have to pop it later in the game, so I'm not really too concerned about it. But I can't 2KO him at this point, and I don't want to take a Toxic, so I figured since Mesprit's not doing entirely too much here, I'll let it take the Toxic, and he also maybe could have Earthquake, and then I double into my Golurk, expecting him to either bring in the Lantern or potentially the Skuntank, because if I caught it on the Skuntank, if he doesn't know that I'm banded, then he could expect me to be Colberberry, so he might want to switch out, and then I can go for another Choice Banded Earthquake potentially. So he does actually switch into the Buffalon though, which is fine by me. I do have the Drain Punch. I don't really care what Buffalon wants to do to me, as I do nothing. that actually, it only did 28% to Mudsdale. I did not think that would do so little damage. In hindsight, I guess I could have gone for the Ice Punch, but it's not that big of an issue. So I believe he doubles here, as he turns out to be Calm Mind or Oricorio. I am Specs Mesprit though, and that Ice Beam does a ridiculous amount of damage with it being at +1. But I'm going to go for another Ice Beam here and do 44% as well as get the freeze. So this really sucks. I don't know if this really mattered too much, because I didn't mind losing my Mesprit. All I really needed to do was put Oricorio in range of where my Scarf Primeape could outspeed it. So yeah, and then I also have Dodrio that outspeeds it, but I don't really think that freeze was entirely game changing, as Buffalon turns out to be sub SD here. This is actually still not a problem because I'm faster than him and I'm Choice Banded, so it just dies. I'm not really sure what he was trying to do with Buffalon there. I'm pretty sure Buffalon doesn't get an attack to hit Golurk because of Golurk's typing, so yeah, that's really nice. As I bring in my Quillfish here, I thought that I was going to sack off Quillfish to a Leaf Storm, because I figured realistically I don't need Quillfish at this point in the game. It's not doing entirely too much. If anything, I can just sack it off. But it turns out that he goes for the knockoff, and then if he is not Scarfed, I outspeed him because I'm Jolly Max Speed. So if he is Scarfed, he's locked into knockoff, which means I live any hit he wants to go for in this scenario. So this gives me a free layer of spikes, and this makes my matchup a little bit easier now, because I can chip down the Skuntank, the Mudsdale, and the Lantern, as I'm actually able to catch Mudsdale here with the Destiny Bomb. This is amazing because this allows me to bring in my Scarfed Primate, which will either knock something out or chip something down as he brings in the Skuntank. I'm going to U-turn and sack off my Sandslash here if he does have a fire move. If he doesn't have a fire move though, this means I get off a free Earthquake as he actually decides to switch in to the Lantern. And the fact that he didn't have a fire move on Skuntank is very, very huge, because now what this allows me to do is go for the Rapid Spin with my Alolan Sandslash and get rid of these Stealth Rocks. So that means that my Dodrio and my Primeape don't have to be worried about constantly switching in and out and being put into range of where one of his 2 potential Sucker Punch mons is able to knock me out. So I will be able to severely weaken this Lantern as I end up sacking off my Sandslash here to the Shiftry because I am burned. I got rid of rocks and I've already weakened Lantern. That's more than I could have asked for my Sandslash, as I can U-turn once again with my Primeape. This now allows me to bring in my Dodrio, and I'm going to go straight for my Z move. I really don't mind if he wants to sack Lantern. I am going to absolutely destroy something regardless with my Z move. And after this layer of spikes, he is definitely in range of where a move from my Dodrio will be able to finish him off. As I do live the aftermath damage, it is confirmed that he is a Choice Scarfed Shiftry, but I have Scarfed Primeape, so I can easily outspeed that. And that is going to be game number 1 in my favor. So let's go jump into game number 2. Alright, so this team that my opponent has here for game 2 is actually really scary, mainly because of Rotom Frost. Look at my team, I have no ground type, so shouts out to Tone for not letting me have a ground type or some type of electric immunity to Rotom Frost, because that pretty much 6-0s me since this team does not have a Scarfer whatsoever. So this matchup is very problematic, plus Specs Drampal destroys me, as well as potentially Girder if I lose my Mesprit, and then Oricorio could be a little bit of a problem. So we have Specs Drampal, Banded Agron, Life Orb, Spikes, Frost Slash, Cobra Berry, Mesprit, HP Rock, Lilligant. Unfortunately, we are not Normalium Z with Hyper Beam, so my Lilligant pretty much does nothing in this game so long as Drampal is around. And then we have Assault Vest, Hitmonchan. So I'm just going to decide to lead off with my Frostlass, because I figured that with me having no ground type or way of stopping him from Volt Switching, he pretty much loses nothing in just leading off with Rotom. Like, it's his perfect lead because it matches up well against everything that I have. But because Rotom Frost is not that strong, I know I can live any one hit, so I will at least be able to get up a layer of spikes in this match. As in comes the Mesprit, I'm going to chance him being potentially double Scarf and stay in and go for the Shadow Ball. Another reason I wanted to do that is because if Mesprit is gone, my Hitmonchan is actually a giant problem to his team. The only thing that deals with my Hitmonchan is Golurk, because I unfortunately have Thunder Punch as opposed to Ice Punch, which really sucks because if I was Ice Punch, Drain Punch and Ice Punch pretty much just got me a KO every single time. But it is what it is, as I do severely weaken the Mesprit. He finishes me off there with the Psychic. I doubt that crit mattered. He probably would have knocked me out anyways. As I bring in my Lilligant here, I figured that because he does have Drampal, if I want to try and get some use out of my Lilligant, I need to play aggressively with it and start forcing in the Drampal. Now obviously that is kind of flawed because he does just kind of get a kill if he Draco Meteors. It depends, because I mean I do have Agron, which I'd assume Agron can live 2 Draco Meteors. So if anything, I have Agron at least as a one-time pivot, and if worse comes to worst, I have a Salvest Hitmonchan. So by being aggressive with my Lilligant, because I was able to get up this layer of spikes, eventually this Drampal is going to be switching in and out and taking so much damage that if I am able to Quiver Dance with my Lilligant, I will be able to finish him off with the Hidden Power Rock, so that way I can maybe win with my Lilligant. But because it's so early in the battle, I need to start being aggressive with Lilligant in order to bait in the Drampal. So I decided to Hidden Power Rock here, expecting Drampal to come in, getting off a little bit of damage. As it turns out, he's leftovers Drampal, so that basically just throws my entire game plan out of the window, kind of, because now this thing is most definitely going to have Roost. However though, on the plus side, because this is not Specs, that means it can no longer just get a free kill every single time. So that's a giant relief for me in this game, and I'm going to try and take this opportunity to get on my rocks as I bring in my Mesprit. I figured I could live any hit he wanted to go for. If I really wanted to, I could have also potentially hard switched right into my own Drampal, which yes, it would have gotten me a KO but I could potentially do that later, as where for right now I can just go ahead and safely get on my Stealth Rocks as he switches into the girder here. I'm not sure why he brought in girder on my Mesprit. I think maybe he thinks that I was Scarf Mesprit, so I could U-turn out on the girder. Because if you look at my team, my way of dealing with girder is basically Mesprit now. So if I was Scarfed, I would have U-turned here expecting him to switch, and then whatever came in was threatened by girder. So I'm guessing that's why he hard switched the girder into a Mesprit. Otherwise, I don't think you would ever do this in a normal scenario, but I am not choiced. I am Culberberry, so I'm able to get on my rocks, and then this turn I go for the Psychic as I crit the incoming Golurk. You're going to see that this extra little bit of damage doesn't matter later in the battle, and I'll make sure to point it out to you guys there. But I don't want to stay in and lose my Mesprit, so I make an aggressive switch right back into my Lilligant. Honestly, I thought he would just get up his Stealth Rocks. I really thought that he was going to go for rocks this turn, but he ends up being really aggressive with the Dynamic Punch, probably expecting me to bring in my Lilligant, so that was a good play on his part. And now this is a little bit bad because I don't necessarily have a switch into this Golurk. My team is so offensive, and this Golurk speed is actually pretty good against me, so I don't really have a good answer to another Dynamic Punch potentially. So I need to hope that I don't hit myself in confusion here and I can Giga Drain the Golurk, because with rocks up along with spikes, he does not feel comfortable in bringing in the Drampaw. So I figured that going for Giga Drain was definitely the best play this turn, as I do actually break through the confusion. I'm able to catch the girder, and now this is a very, very interesting turn. So the smart thing, I guess, would be to switch out here, because I don't want to risk hitting myself in confusion, right? It's a 50-50 on whether or not I'm going to hit myself in confusion. Unfortunately, though, I don't have a switch in to this girder. I don't want my Mesprit to take a knockoff, although I guess realistically I can live a knockoff into a Mach Punch, and it wouldn't be entirely too bad, but I figured that if he was able to get rid of my Mesprit, that would leave me with one less sack, which could be a little bit of an issue against the Rotom if it really came down to it. Plus, if I do break through confusion, the benefit of breaking through confusion is so much more than me switching Mesprit into the knockoff that he most likely is going to go for, if you guys get what I'm trying to say here. So basically, I'm going to risk going for my Bloom Doom here in hopes that he does leave in the girder, again, not wanting to bring in the Drampaw. So I do manage to break through the confusion, thankfully, and I'm able to get rid of the girder, which means now my Mesprit is mostly expendable, as in comes the Oricorio. I'm going to switch directly into my Agron, as he unfortunately misses the Hurricane. I 4 times resist that. I doubt it would have done entirely too much damage, but that does kind of play a little bit of a role near the end of the battle here. Regardless, though, I don't even think if he had Hidden Power Fighting or Hidden Power Ground that he still would have been able to knock me out after Hurricane. I think it depends on what his spread was, if he did have Hidden Power Fighting or Ground. But if he does have it, he may be fearing me having Sturdy, which is why he probably doesn't want to stay in here, and he's going to end up switching out. Second off his Mesprit, as I just go for the Ice Punch here, allowing me to KO it, as in comes the Rotom. If I really wanted to, I could stay in on a Volt Switch and go for Ice Punch again. However, though, I don't think he can risk me staying in and going for the Ice Punch, so I'm pretty positive he's not going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, which is why I actually hard switch into my Hitmonchan. Now, this was a little bit odd, I know, but in case he wanted to go for the Blizzard, I figured that even if my Hitmonchan got burned, it's not entirely too bad. Like, Drain Punch is still doing enough to Drampaw if I'm burned, and I can still do a decent amount of damage to Oricorio with my Ice Punch, if it, Thunder Punch, sorry, if it really comes down to it. Plus, he has Golurk, which walls me anyways, and I still have Drain Punch and Mach Punch to hit his Rotom. So I figured that if anything, Hitmonchan being burned wasn't necessarily that bad. I don't know. I guess I could have let Mesprit get burned, because I knew it wasn't going to Volt Switch. But then if he went for Blizzard, I don't care. I'm just overthinking it. I bring in Hitmonchan. He doesn't Will-O-Wisp. End of discussion. So he brings in the Golurk. I have Thunder Punch and Night Ice Punch. So I'm forced to switch out here into my Lilligant once again, as he just aggressively goes for the offensive move. I'm guessing that he just really doesn't want my Lilligant coming in for free, because the hazards pressure Drampaw so much as it is. So either way, he Shadow Punches. I will be able to Giga Drain and knock out the Golurk. As down it goes, in comes the Oricorio. If this is sub Calm Mind, that could actually be a little bit scary. but I don't think that he has the sufficient moves, because I don't think he would just run Hurricane or Oricorio. So if he was just Hurricane or Oricorio, I have Agron at least, so I could still technically deal with Subcom Mine, but it would definitely pick up a KO or two potentially. As I stay in with Lilligant here, I'm just going to go for the Hidden Power Rock, not wanting him to potentially set up for free, allowing me to bring in my Drampa here. And because I don't have a Scarfer and my Mach Punch does not affect his Oricorio because he is the Ghost Flying type, I figured that by bringing in my Drampa, even if he goes for Calm Mind, I'm still modest choice specs, so I might actually just KO this Oricorio, or if he goes for the Roost, I might still KO him regardless. So I'm going to Draco Meteor here. Actually, no. Do I Fire Blast? No, I Draco. Yeah, okay. For some reason, I thought I Fire Blasted. But yeah, Dracoing there was definitely my best play. As down goes his Drampa, in comes his Rotom. I still feel like I have use for my Drampa in this game. Plus, the fact that Blizzard does not 2-hit KO Agron from full HP is actually the main reason I made the switch here into my Agron, as he actually goes for the trick. And funnily enough, with the Choice Scarf, I am 298 speed, which is the same speed as max speed Timid Rotom Frost. So even if I lose the speed tie, it doesn't matter because I just get a kill. But I thought this was really funny because Scarf Agron actually knocks out Rotom, and then there's no way Oricorio knocks me out. And he goes for Hurricane, so I'm guessing he didn't have Hidden Power Fighting. Yeah, so that was just funny to me, as we are going to be able to win this round 2-0 and go into round 9. Unfortunately, not really, because I was not able to do my round 9 battle on time. So both of my losses were due to me just not having the time to battle. But hey, I made it to round 8, which was really, well, technically I made it to round 9, but that was pretty awesome. I didn't think I'd make it this far in the tournament. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you may have missed any of my previous rounds, I'll leave a little playlist down in the description, most likely, for you guys to go check out. And yeah, I just want to say thank you all for watching. Later, everybody. Hit that thumbs up button down below to show support. So later.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in a knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.